Let's read the next section. Now, is Luke 10:34 and 35. We tell us what the Samaritan did.
All right. And went to him and bound up his wounds, pouring in oil and wine, and set him on his own beast, and brought him to an inn, and took care of him. And on the morrow, when he departed, he took out 2 pence and gave to them to the host, and said unto him, Take care of him, and whatsoever thou spendest more, when I come again, I will repay thee.
Yes. So, we see a man that from a different country. So oftentimes, we as the church, oftentimes we as the church and the people of God, see the world taking care of people more than we are.
Yes.
And that is a tragedy. I have, for a long time, I have looked and said that the church, it's not to build the finest building.
No.
Jesus does it. Jesus is there inside of you that goes into that building.
That's right.
Yeah. And he's there. It's a meeting place.
Mm-hmm.
He met with them on the side of the hill, on the Mount of Olives.
Right.
He met there. So that was a place. It wasn't in a building where he met them. It was many times that Paul in the early church, that they met in a house. Mm-hmm. It wasn't in a fancy building. So the fancy building, and I'm not against it. I'm not against having some comfort in a fancy building. But don't forget the primary work that God wants us to do.
Absolutely.
The primary work is He wants us to be the hand and feet of Jesus, to reach out to people that are in need, the people that are hurting,
That's
people
right.
that needs an arm put around them. Mm-hmm. Somebody to put around their shoulder and say, "You're going to make it, brother. You come on along with us. You're going to make it." And even the struggle, we think about what Bella has gone through there in the Philippines. Mm-hmm. I mean, they've been through typhoons that are just destructive stuff. Mm-hmm. We went through 3 hurricanes, and we've seen stuff around. We've seen people lose all the houses. Tornadoes that went through and destroyed. But you know who you see there first? We rely on the government to be there. The government is not the ones that should be the first ones on the scene. And I want to applaud Samaritan's Purse.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's back from Billy Graham, but Franklin Graham has taken it over and done it. Let me tell you something. They have put a lot of money. Who was one of the first people there in North Carolina? Mm-hmm. Who came and helped me?
That's right.
There was a part of their group that came and helped me cut trees down. Mm-hmm. And things. I want to applaud them. That is what they're the hands and feet of Jesus.
They are in the hands and feet of Jesus. That's exactly right.
Maybe they not. Maybe they're not what we call Pentecostal. But that's all right.
It's okay.
They have God inside of their hearts, and they're doing work for God. Yeah. I want to say that we need to be the hands and feet of Jesus. Put more focus on being the hands and feet of Jesus than we do in making a lavish building or have big performances. What have we made the church? A theater?
Come on.
I looked at some of these, at the productions that they've had in the church, and probably thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars they spent.
Tens of thousands.
Yeah.
Tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands of dollars they spent. How many people? And then you got people on the street that are homeless. Mm-hmm. You got elderly people that can barely buy food. You go to the grocery store and see what it is. Used to be, if you spent $100 in the grocery store, you come out with a buggy full of stuff. You spend $100 in the grocery store now, you come out with 2 bags.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky, right.
And the other thing that the Samaritan's Purse did is they took the time to share Jesus with Ken. Now, I wasn't here during that time. I was at work. But they came out and they worked. But then they take the time.
And they left me a Bible.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
They left us a Bible.
And Ken, in his position was able to encourage them.
Yes.
So the two groups together encouraged one another, encouragers of the faith,
Yes.
to continue to do what you were doing to help those in need.
Yes. And this Samaritan, which was a man that is not saying he professed any faith or anything like that, but out of the goodness of his heart, he took this man that was wounded, he bound him up, took what he had, he poured in the oil and the wine. The wine was the stuff, it was alcohol, so it would cleanse the wound. Right. So he cleansed his wound, and then he bound him up. He had some stuff with it. No doubt when they traveled, they had to have something in case an accident happened, so they had sort of like a first aid kit that we carry sometimes.
Right.
He had his own first aid kit. So he took it and he used it.
Right.
And then he bound him up, and then he took him to an inn. In other words, a place there. He not only just bound him and said, okay now, fella, I got you doing better. I'll see you later. No, he didn't. He took the extra time, and perhaps he put him on his own donkey, and so that he could carry him there.
Yeah.
You know, and he took him to the nearest place. He took him to the nearest place. Yeah, he said he set him on his own beast. In other words, it took some work on his part.
That's right.
It took some comfort out of his to be able to. Sometimes it's not going to be a comfort level that we're in. We got to get out of that comfort level.
Yes, we do.
Sometimes we got to get out of that comfort level. But he got out of his comfort level. He took him to the inn, and then he paid for it.
Right.
He didn't say, "Okay, now I got you here. You got to do the rest on your own." You know, he went the extra mile.
Yes.
And sometimes that's what God's looking for us to do.
Yes.
Is the extra mile. Is the extra mile.
Yes.
All right. We're going to go to our third one here.